I'm Casey Claiborne, and thanks for watching this CrimeWatch YouTube exclusive, where we're taking a look at some recent crime stories around Austin and Texas. A family has hired a lawyer after Austin police took about 2.5 hours to respond to a head-on collision. They believe the other driver was drunk, and their attorney says the delayed response has impacted their case. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has the story.
I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Is this real?
The Percival family was hit head-on by an alleged drunk driver last Saturday at around 4 in the afternoon.
Woman on the CDTA bus that was right there had gone over his car, and immediately she starts telling me that he reeks of alcohol and he has been drinking.
They called 911. The Austin Fire Department showed up within minutes, but it took the Austin Police Department about 2.5 hours.
This man is trying to leave. He has his friend here. They are moving, towing his car. No cops in sight to come give this man a breathalyzer.
By the time the police showed up, the other driver passed the field sobriety test, and police were unable to press charges.
I think a 2.5 hour delay in getting to a scene allows someone who is drunk to sober up a lot. It allows someone to get their story together, make phone calls, kind of figure out what they're going to say. And so I think if it was a regular response time, it would have been very different. I think he would have been arrested.
Attorney Adam Lowy says they believe he was drunk and caused the crash.
We're going after money for them to compensate them for what happened in terms of the insurance that's available. So it's a very big case. And there's obviously bigger social issues at play, too.
Like police staffing issues.
When the female officer arrived on the scene, she told me that she apologized, but there was only 5 officers on duty right now for the city.
Even 911 told me flat out there's just not enough police officers to respond.
On an average day, the Austin Police Department is operating with almost 300 vacancies. But this crash happened during South by Southwest, and Mayor Watson said APD and the 911 call center would be fully staffed, and APD's patrol levels throughout the city would be met.
So when you have an event like South by Southwest and Austin FC and other major events going on, they are pulled in all different directions. So I've seen this time and time again, that when people are in car crashes, police simply do not get there. And it's not the fault of the police. It's because they are completely overworked and there's just not enough police officers for this size of the city.
In a statement, the Austin Police Department says, quote, even at fully staffed capacities, due to the incidents and calls that our officers attend, we did not have enough officers to be at every call once they came in.
They told me that the cops weren't coming because they kept getting called to different calls, and the last one was a domestic violence, so nobody was going to come. And they were just going to pull his truck off, and let this man walk free.
But she says that's not going to happen. She and her family are hurt, and the other driver is responsible.
I will not be silenced. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Earlier this month, the city of Austin announced a new pay package for APD, which includes a 4% raise, a $15,000 incentive for new cadets, retention incentives for current officers, and pay increases for those close to retirement.
It's a good faith effort by me and the city council to say that we do respect our police.
But still no agreed upon police contract. The current one expires on Friday. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
The Lone Star Fugitive Task Force has arrested a woman accused of a deadly shooting in North Austin. 32-year-old Brittany Curry was taken into custody and charged with murder on March 23rd. She's accused of killing 30-year-old Barry Dockery on March 18th. The shooting happened outside of a home on Dean Avenue near North Lamar and Runberg. A 911 caller reported a person was shot. Officers found the victim lying on the ground in the backyard. He died shortly after that. A juvenile is behind bars charged with first-degree murder for killing a 22-year-old man in Southeast Austin. It was the 5th homicide in 8 days. Fox 7 Austin's Amanda Ruiz has that story.
Thursday night, police responded to yet another homicide in Austin.
This is being investigated as Austin's 21st homicide of 2023.
The 21st homicide of the year, but the 5th homicide in just a week.
A caller stated that several gunshots were heard within the complex.
Just after 10:30 Thursday night, Austin police arrived at Woodway Square Apartments in Southeast Austin for reports of a shooting.
With the help of security, APD located a male subject inside an apartment with obvious trauma to the body.
Police identified the victim as 22-year-old Darion Dupree. He was discovered by police with multiple gunshot wounds, one to the chest. Despite life-saving measures, Dupree died from his injuries.
The victim was inside the apartment where he was pronounced deceased. So I believe he was located inside the apartment when it happened.
APD says witnesses identified a male juvenile as the suspect. The investigation reveals Dupree was arguing with another person before the juvenile shot and killed him.
Acts of violence are always concerning, so to hear about it.
We spoke to longtime resident Mark Henderson Wednesday after a homicide occurred down the street from him on Felix Avenue. A homicide occurring almost every day this week, spanning all across the city of Austin. So far, 3 out of the 5 homicides this week have suspects that have been arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Police are still looking for the others.
Generally, it's pretty quiet around here, but every now and then there's violence.
A woman was carjacked at gunpoint in East Austin in broad daylight. Fox 7 Austin's Carissa Limco learned some tips that could help prevent this from happening to you.
Thursday morning, around 8 a.m., a woman was carjacked at gunpoint in East Austin along the 1500 block of New York Avenue. She got away, but the suspects took off in her car. This summer, a young man was carjacked, shot and killed at this South Austin gas station around 11 p.m. And in May, this brazen attempt caught on camera, a man trying to carjack multiple people leaving a South Austin gym around 6:30 a.m.
They can occur at the daytime too. So, they can occur any time of the day.
AAA spokesperson Daniel Armbruster shared some tips. Always stay aware and avoid poorly lit areas. Try and have some kind of weapon or noisemaker on hand, like pepper spray or a whistle. And whether you are driving or stopped, keep your doors locked.
Staying in the center lane of traffic can also help because you're buffered by the other 2 lanes.
And if you do get confronted and threatened, don't try and argue and don't stay in the car. Another trick that carjackers may use.
It starts out as if it's like a rear end collision. You think someone's just bumped you from behind, right? And then they come up and what you think they're getting your information, your insurance information. If you are rear-ended, especially in an area where you don't feel safe, you don't feel comfortable, direct them to go to a nearby 24-hour store or a police station.
One man has been arrested for arson in connection to a fire at an abandoned downtown building. The fire happened just after midnight on March 21st at a building on Congress, a few blocks from the state capitol. Firefighters say 32-year-old John Banks was arrested for arson. Advocates say more needs to be done to mitigate arson. The building has been boarded up for years, but some have memories going back to the 60s when there was an eye doctor there.
When I was in middle school, fell apart, had to get glasses. So came down here and that was where I got my first pair of glasses.
This is becoming an increasing problem in our city. It's one that city leaders need to take on directly with a sober assessment of what the factors are that are contributing to it and what public policy options exist.
Arson carries a punishment of 2 to 10 years in jail and a fine up to $10,000. The fire department estimates about $1 million in damages. Police are investigating the city's 19th homicide of the year after a man was shot and killed in southeast Austin. The shooting sent another man to the hospital, and we're learning detectives do have a person of interest. Fox 7 Austin's John Krinjak has the details.
It is. It's like, you're telling me this for the first time.
Mark Henderson was surprised to learn there was a deadly shooting early Tuesday just up the block from him.
911 received multiple calls about gunshots heard.
It was just after 12:30 in the morning that Austin police were called to the intersection of Montopolis and Felix, just south of 183.
Officers arrived on scene and located a male in his early 20s with obvious signs of trauma.
Police and medics gave the man CPR, but he was pronounced dead a short time later. And it was as cops were combing the scene for clues that they learned there was a second victim.
We received information about a male in his 20s showing up to a local area hospital in need of medical assistance for unknown injuries that were related to this incident. This individual is in stable condition.
Police spent much of the morning collecting evidence from outside this smoke shop and this auto repair shop, but we're told the shooting itself happened out here in the street. Detectives say they have spoken to a witness who saw the shooting go down, as well as a person of interest, as they continue to piece together exactly what happened.
Acts of violence are always concerning, so to hear about it, yeah, it's I'll look around and find out what's going on.
But Henderson, who's lived on Felix Avenue for years, remembers a time when violence in this neighborhood was more common.
When I first moved to Austin, like in 2000, this was considered a really dangerous neighborhood, and I had a friend who lived here, and he said he heard gunshots and stuff all the time.
These days, he says shootings like this have become more the exception than the rule, and hopes it stays that way.
Generally, it's pretty quiet around here, but every now and then there's violence. But usually it's homeless people that are kind of migrating through the area more than anything else.
In Austin, I'm John Carjacking, Fox 7 Austin News.
The Vanessa Guillen family is speaking out after the death of Private Ana Balsaldua earlier this month. Myra Guillen says this case is too similar to her sister Vanessa's case. Both soldiers complained about sexual harassment before they died. Fox 7 Austin's Jessica Rivera has that story.
3 years after the murder of Specialist Vanessa Guillen, her sisters are still seeking justice. Myra Guillen came to the Capitol Thursday morning to testify in support of House Bill 2248.
So I came to testify, and apparently many more people came to testify, veterans, organizations, a number of people. So it was a great outcome. And the bill got passed.
Guillen says they were making progress with Fort Hood, but just last week, Fort Hood officials released that another Latina soldier was found dead on post.
It's a shame that the little bit of trust that we were building within, with the military, with working together with them to get legislation passed, was already broken once again.
Private Ana Balsaldua also complained to her parents about sexual harassment from her superiors.
It's very triggering. I mean, it reminds me of my sister's case, and until they come out with the official investigations as to if it was sexual harassment, sexual assault, then we won't know any more details until Fort Hood provides them.
Fort Hood officials said in a statement that there was no foul play in the death of Balsaldua. They also acknowledged the sexual harassment allegations and will look into it during the investigation.
The fact that the commander came out and spoke and, gave importance to the issue is also good. I just hope that they completely do everything right the whole way, not just in the beginning to calm everybody down and be like, okay, we're looking into it.
After the death of Vanessa Guillen, she made an impact on Fort Hood. Other service members also shared their sexual trauma on social media using the hashtag #IamVanessaGuillen.
I hope that they see this in a way that it's okay to speak up, not to wait till it's too late, because unfortunately suicide rates are very high and people don't pay attention unless it's a murder.
Balsaldua's family is starting a GoFundMe page to raise funds to pay for travel expenses and to also do a second autopsy. Jessica Rivera, Fox 7 Austin News.
A multi-day investigation in East Texas has a deadly ending in Houston. A federal law enforcement operation to rescue hostages ended with gunfire from an FBI agent. Fox's Damali Keith has more from a North Houston motel where the FBI-involved shooting occurred.
Yeah, this all started after at least 2 people were kidnapped, and the FBI and several law enforcement agencies came here to the Studio 6 motel in North Houston to rescue them. Now, one person ended up shot to death by an FBI agent, and FBI investigators are still here combing the scene, continuing their investigation. Now, according to FBI Houston Special Agent in Charge James Smith, this mission was to rescue hostages, and it began 2 days ago and was initially to assist the Waller County Sheriff's Office. Now, since Tuesday, a number of law enforcement agencies have been working together in an operation to rescue the 2 people who were being held hostage. The agencies that teamed up to help also include the Houston Police Department, the Harris County Sheriff's Office. SWAT officers responded, deputy constables. There were armored vehicles here, and we're told a bomb squad also assisted in this effort to rescue the hostages. Now, according to the FBI, everyone who was being held was recovered safely. And here's the FBI giving a few more details.
This morning, around 4:30 a.m., as the FBI was working to rescue 2 hostages inside this location, agents with the FBI's hostage rescue team from Quantico, Virginia, were conducting a hostage rescue. when the shooting occurred. One suspect was shot and killed, and a second suspect was taken into custody by the Harris County Sheriff's Department.
Now, no word yet on the identity of the person who was shot and killed, and the FBI hasn't released yet how an operation that started in Waller County ended up here in the Greenspoint area of Houston. We're also working to find out exactly why those people were being held hostage and who was holding them. Reporting live in North Houston, I'm Damalie Keith, Fox News.
And finally, the Dallas County DA has offered an apology in court to a wrongly accused Texas inmate. Martin Santillan was convicted of killing Damon Whitman during a 1997 robbery in the Deep Ellum Entertainment District in Dallas. A witness identified Santillan in a photo lineup. During his 1998 trial, the jury did not believe his alibi and found him guilty of capital murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, but on appeal, advanced DNA testing has cleared him of the crime.
This is a testament to the spirit of an individual who was innocent, who maintained his innocence in such a dignified way that it just exuded that this man was innocent.
There is a suspect in custody who is currently going through the legal process. Thanks for watching this Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch. Our exclusive Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. Again, to learn more about the stories featured today, look for the links below the video. You can also find more stories on our website, fox7austin.com, or subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.